The defining vulnerability of modern artificial intelligence is a failure of categorization. We have built these systems capable of conversational fluency and mistakenly granted them the authority to declare truth. A machine's ability to predict a sequence of tokens is separate from the capacity for meaning or the right to act. Statistical probability is a syntactic achievement, not an operational one. Under this architecture, machine intelligence is relegated to syntax. Its capabilities are limited to the extraction, sorting, and rendering of data. Semantic meaning, and the authority to trigger consequence based on that meaning, remains the exclusive domain of the human author. The system converts abstract intent into a rigid, mechanistic syntax. This mirrors the logic of the I Ching, which filters complex human inquiries through a strict combinatorial engine. By forcing machine intelligence into this matrix, we harness its capacity for deep synthesis, while making automated consequence structurally impossible. A PRISM.AE workflow begins with an architectural blueprint known as the source manifest. Before any data is processed, this manifest inventories the exact file paths and roles for every document entering the system. Every listed file is assigned a unique SHA-256 digital fingerprint. These hashes prevent silent mutation. Altering a foundational document by even a single character breaks the fingerprint, invalidating the entire structure. The manifest schema hard-codes specific state variables. Flags for runtime effect and governance effect are permanently disabled. Governance boundaries are fixed in the metadata. Authority is set to none, and human acceptance remains pending by default. These hard-coded limits force the entire system into an inert state. Without manual intervention, the system cannot move. The manifest ensures the AI is treated as an untrusted scribe. It is bound by human-defined parameters before it even encounters the data. Operational execution requires a specific utility tool called the PRISM Lex packager. The packager scans local files, computes a fresh set of hashes, and compares them against the original manifest. When the local bytes perfectly match the cryptographic blueprint, the system achieves a state of 1.000 parity. This milestone is evidence of alignment, not permission to act. Passing this technical test allows for packaging, but it does not grant the right to mutate archives or deploy code. A perfect hash match describes readiness. It authorizes no motion. By severing technical validation from executive permission, the architecture ensures that mere machine accuracy cannot trigger real-world consequences. Once a source pack is verified, it enters the agency stack, a layered set of operational tools that act upon the data. The foundational layer is Lex, the source scribe agency. Lex extracts text, generates summaries, and surfaces contradictions within the research material. However, Lex cannot canonize information. Its outputs are candidates for review, never proof. Above Lex sits Echo, the interpretive membrane. Echo preserves logic while remaining isolated from local execution. The third layer is Dex, the scoped forge assistant. Dex drafts code and inspects files within a defined boundary. It cannot self-authorize new actions or reuse expired permissions. The final layer is Hex, the front-end cockpit. Hex reveals the glass box evidence view, providing a clear trail from the final output back to the original source. Visual legibility in the dashboard does not translate into active permission to bypass a gate. These agents interlock to process syntactic data without accumulating operational authority. The compartmentalization of these roles prevents machine fluency from aggregating into machine sovereignty. We can observe this rigorous containment by looking at a payload of extreme conceptual density, the L functions varieties IDOS portal. This portal maps the relationship between the Riemann hypothesis and algebraic varieties over finite fields. Lex gathers this symbolic data and structures it into the Shambhala.AE source chamber for human review. While Lex processes the mathematical relationships, it is structurally forbidden from claiming its synthesis constitutes a formal proof. The PRISM architecture safely cradles these deep, complex mathematical mysteries, precisely because it cannot attempt to solve them. When the syntactic work is finished, the data reaches the PRISM gate. The process concludes with the generation of a source pack receipt. This receipt is a static custody record. It witnesses the history of the data without ruling over its future. This enforces the forbidden conversions. Lex rendering a summary does not establish its truth. A notebook LM output does not constitute proof, and a perfect schema validation pass does not grant authority. By ending the automated process at a static receipt, the system demands human judgment before the data moves forward. The final decision rests on the author acceptance toggle. It holds 4 states: pending, accepted, refused, and revised requested. Until a human manually switches the state from pending, the matrix remains frozen. This is the core seal. Lex extracts, Notebook LM renders, PRISM gates, and finally, the author accepts the consequence. The system engineers intelligence by design, mapping abstract human semantics into a machine-safe syntax. The technical friction of hashes and receipts stands in contrast to systems allowing AI to move from generation to execution without a pause. The final achievement of the architecture is the preservation of sovereign human intent within an impenetrable, machine-proof fortress.